Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little bit different than the norm. I guess I'm flying solo today. I usually go live with my partner and co-host on the Transatlantic Takedown, Megan Ambers. But I just wanted to share my journey to WrestleMania 41 and how I got along there and everything like that, it might help some people in the future that want to go to WrestleMania and everything. So this is kind of an overview of my experience going to Vegas, and it was an unforgettable time. So growing up in Ireland, being a wrestling fan, going to WrestleMania was always the dream for me. Bit of a pipe dream, I suppose, overall. And WrestleMania is our Super Bowl. It's our Champions League final. In a way, and it's the peak of the wrestling year. And last year, at the very last minute, I decided to go solo to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. And honestly, it changed my life in many, many ways. That trip opened the door to setting up my own platform, getting involved in the Irish indie wrestling scene, and just chasing dreams I'd put on the shelf. So a quick plug, you can check out my podcast episode where I talk more about my Philadelphia trip and visiting all the locations of where the Rocky movie was filmed and so on. But after Philadelphia then, I wanted to try something different for WrestleMania 41. I kept seeing amazing clips online from Wrestle Tours. They're a UK-based company tied to Progress Wrestling. They specialize in full WrestleMania trips. And now I'm definitely a little bit more of an introvert than I am an extrovert. I love doing my own thing, and Wrestle Tours seemed perfect for me. It's structured where you need it to be, but flexible enough to do your own thing also. And when Vegas was confirmed as the host city and not Minnesota, as we thought about it might be, thankfully it was Vegas. I knew it was a bit of a no-brainer then. Two dreams in one trip, Mania and my first time in Las Vegas. So booking with Wrestle Tours was quite straightforward. I put a deposit down, I paid it off then over time, and they handle everything from the hotel to the WrestleMania 2 nights, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and even some Progress tickets then and some merchandise. But, just a side note there, if you're based outside the UK like I am in Ireland, you might face some customs delay for your merchandise. That's not the fault of Wrestle Tours, though. That's other. It's not relevant to them really, but now I know some people prefer different routes. Some go through companies like On Location or buy directly through Ticketmaster and plan everything themselves. And for some that works brilliantly. It really just depends what you want to get from your week. If WWE World is your priority and meeting the newest WWE superstars is your thing, then maybe On Location is a good call, as they offer perks like priority entry to WWE World, to the Superstore, and also to the stadium. But for me, I love WrestleCon and meeting legends I grew up watching, indie talent, AEW and TNA stars. That's my priority. And it's whatever you value most, really, I guess. But honestly, if you are a first timer and not sure where to even begin, you could do a lot worse than giving Wrestle Tours a shout to see what packages they offer. And they do have various different levels of packaging and so on like that. And I also grabbed a direct Aer Lingus flight from Dublin to Vegas when they launched their new route. And I got a great deal on that at the time. And so, I also added in 2 extra nights to make it a week-long holiday. And trust me, always book extra days if you can, because you'll need them just to acclimatize when you get there, just to find your feet, maybe do a bit of exploring beforehand and so on. I checked into the Park MGM hotel, stunning hotel, and literally it was right beside the T-Mobile Arena where SmackDown and Raw and NXT were hosting their events. The first thing I did, of course, was hit the CVS to stock up on water and snacks because hotel prices are just insane for the likes of a bottle of water or some snacks and things like that. So there's no point spending additional money there where you can save it elsewhere. And Tuesday and Wednesday were all about exploring then and seeing the strip and soaking it all in. And I ticked off a bucket list moment also, seeing David Blaine perform live at the Wynn Resort. Absolutely mind-blowing, and it's something I always wanted to see. I was always a fan of David Blaine, and that's the one thing about these wrestling trips. You get to visit places you may not have otherwise visited, and you get to see other things. You know, not everything is wrestling related. You can do lots of other things and so on. So by Wednesday and Thursday, more Wrestle Tours travelers were arriving. Some solo like myself, and some groups then, and people that have known each other from previous trips and so on. And Wrestle Tours hosted a kind of a meet and greet for some of the guests and a Q&A session, which was attended then by some well-known Progress wrestlers and that type of thing. I missed that because I had WrestleCon booked. So scheduling conflicts are just part of Mania week, and it's something you kind of need to try and plan things around. But Thursday was a very busy one for me. I met Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax and Drew McIntyre at WWE World. I had photo opportunities with them, and that all ran quite smooth, I think, in comparison to previous years. I think Fanatics kind of needed that year to kind of perfect everything, and you know, they were just at their beginnings last year, so everything was a bit all over the place, but it was a lot better this year in terms of queuing and so on for that. Then over to WrestleCon afterwards, and I got to meet Saraya. Lovely person, and I got her book then signed as part of the WrestleCon Superfan package. And I also got to meet my childhood hero, of course, Bret the Hitman Hart, which was fantastic. I had met him years ago in Dublin, and he signed his book for me at the time. So this was a nice kind of full circle moment too. So a top tip for you here is pre-plan your entire schedule if you can. I had everything kind of listed out on my phone, ticking it off as I was going along, just to, you know, it'll save your sanity in some way. And then Friday morning, that started quite strong for me. There was more meet and greets planned. Ronda Rousey, JR and Jerry Lawler, Mick Foley, Britt Baker and The Big Show. And there was an issue. JR was a little bit ill that morning, so he wasn't able to come down from his hotel room. So I didn't get to meet him and Jerry Lawler, unfortunately. But I got to meet some of the other stars there. But I had a bit of a problem with WWE World then when I was going over there for a photo opportunity on the Friday. They changed their backpack policy overnight without any notice. And I wasn't allowed into WWE World with my backpack. I had been allowed in the day before, where I could check it into a FedEx office for a small fee. But apparently some fans had abused that the day before and were stocking up on far too much stuff from the superstore and packing it into bags and everything like that. So WWE changed the policy overnight apparently, and no notice. The application, the WWE World application, wasn't updated to reflect this. So I wasn't able to go in, because that's another downside, I suppose, if you're doing things on your own. I didn't have anybody to give my bag to. I tried a couple of hotels in the area and they wouldn't take the bag unless I was a guest. So what I happened to do was give my photo opportunity with Natalia to another fan that was there. I just thought that'd be a nice touch, and it worked out quite well. But yeah, missed out on meeting her. But look, these things happen. So what can you do? But yeah, they could really do with updating their communications in real time. It would be a big help. You're paying enough money for these things. So yeah, hopefully that'll improve going forward. But luckily, WrestleCon saved my Friday. I went back and met some random wrestlers, chatted to crazy fans from all around the world, and the whole atmosphere was just brilliant. And after that, then it was Friday night for SmackDown, which was only 2 minutes from the Park MGM Hotel at the T-Mobile Arena. There was no real queues to get in. They had the kickoff for WrestleMania just beforehand outside, and great seats provided through Wrestle Tours. And SmackDown, as we know, is a perfect hype builder for WrestleMania and kind of sets the scene, sets you up, gets you excited about the whole weekend. And that's exactly how it went. So on to Saturday morning then, this was a big one. I got to meet Stone Cold Steve Austin, JD McDonough and Tori Wilson at WWE World. Very well organized and efficient. Austin actually turned up a little bit earlier than he was supposed to, and that made sure that I was able to make my photo ops with JD McDonough, which was fantastic as well. Him being an Irishman, the same as myself, I had never gotten to meet him previously, and it was really, really nice. And of course, Tori Wilson, a WWE diva from back in the day, was a really nice touch also. And after this, then I was back to WrestleCon for a photo opportunity I had purchased with Mike Tyson. And honestly, the Mike Tyson photo op was a shit show, a total disaster. There was a massive double queue mess, a total lack of communication. And I think Fitterman Sports really dropped the ball here in many ways. But yeah, that was an awful setup. But still got my picture with Tyson, and I met the guys from Demolition also, Mickey James and Joe Hendry, which made it all a bit more worthwhile in the end. But then after this, all roads led to WrestleMania Night One. So went back to the hotel to freshen up for that. And yeah, nice bit of a walk then to the stadium. I think it took about 30 minutes or thereabouts. A lot of it air conditioned because, you know, in Vegas, you can walk for quite long distances without ever going outside, and a lot of it is air conditioned, so it's quite nice. A walk from Excalibur up to the Luxor and then to the stadium from there. And all the fans, you know, the excitement on the way, it's fantastic. And because of Wrestle Tours, then we had a suite for Night One and Night Two of WrestleMania, an air-conditioned suite, unlimited drinks. I'm not a drinker myself, but lots and lots of water and comfortable seating, merchandise stands nearby, the food stands nearby, no queuing, no mess, nothing like that. You know, if you can ever experience a suite for WrestleMania, then do it. It's a total game changer, and it's well worth experiencing. That's all I can say. It's a much more comfortable setup, and I know it doesn't suit everybody, and that's fair enough. But if you're in a position at any time and you're able to get something like that, then it's well worth checking out. You know, the level of service you get by the staff, like you're greeted on entry, they assist you in getting to the suite. There's no faffing around, there's no queuing up or anything like that. Even getting through security is just much easier kind of setup, and it's fantastic. It really is. And Night One of WrestleMania, it felt a little flat, I guess, compared to Night Two. but just being there and being able to experience that live in person, there's something really special about it. But seeing Rollins and Punk and Roman Reigns in the triple threat match at the main event was unbelievable. And then, as we know what happened and how that played out, was just great to be there to witness that moment. Another one of these WrestleMania moments, I suppose. So we all went home happy. I walked back to the hotel from the stadium. I think it took about 25 minutes or thereabouts, and explored a little bit of the strip again before bedding down for another busy day ahead on the Sunday. And Sunday morning was back to WrestleCon, where I managed to meet Tony Storm and the great man Sting himself. Both amazing. Yeah, I can't complain in any way. That was also part of the WrestleCon Superfan package. And that's well worth investing in. Also, if you're in any way a fan, as I say, of some of the more classic stars or the indie stars or AEW and things like that. And then it was time for WrestleMania Night 2. And let me tell you, Night 2 was electric in the stadium in comparison to Night 1. The crowd was just far more alive and interacting with everything. The energy was insane. The matches were on fire, I believe anyway. And seeing John Cena win his record 17th world title there in person was an unforgettable moment. There's a lot of people complaining online about WrestleMania in general, and that's fair enough. Everyone is free to have their own opinion, and I think that maybe some of the energy may not have come across the same way on TV as it did being there in the stadium. But yeah, I think when you're there, it's like football matches. It's like everything. You watch them on TV. It's just not the same atmosphere at all. You got to be there, and it's not easy for everybody. I understand that, and I'm very lucky in a way that I've been able to do that. But yeah, look, WWE has never been hotter than it is now, and we could get into the whole discussions around pricing packages and tickets and all that kind of stuff. The prices seem to be going insane. But yeah, I think overall, the WrestleMania itself, as a spectacle and as an event was great if you were there in person, for sure. But once again, for Night 2, the suite access made everything quite smooth. No queues, no stress. Just pure wrestling magic. And then afterwards, like that, there were quite long days overall, going to the cons and WWE World and hanging out in the stadium and the event itself being nearly 4 hours long. So for me, I just like to go back to the hotel room and kind of relax a little bit, chill out, go to bed and so on. Which was setting me up for Monday then, which was another highlight because I managed to meet John Cena for a photo op at WWE World. The man had just won a title the night before, his 17th. And, he took the time with fans, I think anyway. I don't think it was as rushed as it could have been. It isn't a meet and greet. It is a photo opportunity, but it's nearly one of these once in a lifetime jobs because, especially for me being in Ireland, like meeting the likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena, it's possibly something I will never get the chance of doing again. And these are guys I grew up watching and enjoying, and they're legends in the game and the industry. So it was a no-brainer for me. When I got the chance of being able to get my photograph taken with him. So that was great. And he was exceptionally friendly and so on. He's a true superstar, that's for sure. Then after all of this, it was back to the T-Mobile Arena for Raw after Mania. And honestly, it was one of the best Raws after Mania in years, I believe. We had returns, we had surprises, we had fresh storylines. It gave so much hope after Mania. And, to many people that were doubting things, I think it kind of sets us up nicely going ahead. for various different storylines and stuff moving forward. So yeah, that was pretty much the weekend there in a nutshell. Tuesday was a bit of a chill day. Gift shopping, exploring, visiting the Shark Reef Aquarium at Mandalay Bay before heading back to the airport for the journey home. But overall, Vegas was bigger, louder, crazier than I ever imagined. But it was absolutely unforgettable. A massive thanks to Wrestle Tours for making it all happen. The hotel, the events, the whole experience, it's absolutely top class. If you're even thinking about doing a WrestleMania trip in the future, I highly recommend checking them out. And if you've got any questions about planning a Mania trip, then drop them below. I'll be happy to help in any way. They have people that come from Australia, from Canada, from the US that use them, from Ireland and the UK and across Europe as well. They've been at this for many years and they're experts in the game. So yeah, I'll be happy to help. Or if you were at WrestleMania or you were part of Wrestle Tours, then let me know how you found it, if you were happy with it all, what your favorite parts of Vegas and the whole WrestleMania week were. You can do as little or as much as you want. You can go to all the indie events and you know that are around WrestleMania week. You had TNA, you had GCW. There was so many different things going on. It's so hard to get to go to everything. That's one thing you need to keep in mind when you're going to WrestleMania. You cannot make it to everything. It's best to have some kind of a schedule and try and stick to that. Maybe some kind of a budget that you can stick to also, but you're never going to make it to everything. So you got to make your peace with that in some way. But like I said, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support all the time. I'm hoping to do a few more of these kind of videos going forward as well. And really appreciate everything. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And check out the Transatlantic Takedown with myself and Megan Ambers also for even more wrestling content that we're going to have coming your way very soon. And until next time, take care and keep grappling with greatness.